Good food, good cheer, that's what we aim for, right? The warmth of a family gathering, the joy of sharing a meal, these are the moments that bring us together. But what happens when the very essence of these moments is threatened? But what happens when the pantry's bare and the bombs are falling? When the sound of laughter is replaced by the sound of air raid sirens, and the comfort of a full table is replaced by the stark reality of scarcity. That was the reality for Soviet citizens during World War II. Families who once gathered in joy now faced the grim challenge of survival. The war brought not just destruction, but a profound disruption to daily life. The German invasion in 1941, codenamed Operation Barbarossa, threw the nation into turmoil. The swift and brutal advance of German forces left a trail of devastation, uprooting communities and severing supply lines. Fields lay fallow, factories shifted to wartime production, and food became a weapon. The fertile lands that once provided sustenance were now battlegrounds, and the machinery of war took precedence over the machinery of agriculture. Rationing became a way of life. The government issued ration cards, dictating the meager portions each person could receive. Every meal was a calculation, every bite a reminder of the scarcity that defined their existence. Bread, the cornerstone of the Soviet diet, was strictly controlled. Long lines formed outside bakeries, with people waiting for hours in the hope of securing a loaf. This staple food, once taken for granted, became a symbol of endurance. Sugar, meat, fats, all in short supply. The shelves of stores stood empty, a stark contrast to the abundance of peacetime. The struggle to find basic ingredients became a daily ordeal, a test of patience and perseverance. Imagine, if you will, your local grocery store with empty shelves, lines stretching around the block for a meager loaf of bread, the anxiety of not knowing if there would be enough to feed your family, the constant worry that gnawed at the edges of every thought. This wasn't just about empty stomachs, it was about survival. The war turned every meal into a battle, every day into a struggle to find enough to eat. The resilience of the Soviet people was tested in ways unimaginable. The Soviet people faced a stark choice: find ways to feed their families or succumb to starvation. Creativity and resourcefulness became essential tools in the fight against hunger. They learned to make do with what little they had to transform scraps into sustenance. What emerged from this crucible was a testament to human resilience and resourcefulness. Women in particular became the unsung heroes of the home front, finding ingenious ways to stretch limited supplies and create meals that could sustain their loved ones. This wasn't fancy food, mind you. These were meals born out of necessity, crafted from whatever could be scrounged or salvaged. It was about making the most of every ingredient, no matter how humble. This was about stretching every last crumb, every last drop, into something edible, something that could keep body and soul together. The ingenuity of the Soviet people in the face of such adversity is a powerful reminder of the human spirit's capacity to endure and adapt. No place embodies the depths of this struggle more than Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. This city, with its rich history and cultural significance, found itself at the heart of one of the most harrowing sieges in human history. Imagine a city, once vibrant and alive, placed under siege for almost 900 days. The streets that once bustled with life and laughter were now silent, save for the distant sounds of artillery and the whispers of a starving populace. Food became the most precious commodity, more valuable than gold. The once plentiful markets were empty, and the people of Leningrad had to endure unimaginable hardships to find sustenance. The daily ration, at its lowest point, dwindled to a mere 250 grams of bread for workers, a pitiful amount that barely provided enough energy to survive. For everyone else it was even worse, with a mere 125 grams. This tiny portion of bread was often mixed with sawdust or other fillers to make it last longer. Imagine trying to survive on that, on little more than a sliver of bread a day. The constant gnawing hunger was a daily torment, a reminder of the dire situation they were in. People ate what they could, wallpaper paste for its starch, a substance never meant for human consumption, but a desperate measure to stave off starvation. Leather belts were boiled for hours to extract any possible nutrients, turning them into a gelatinous substance that could be consumed. Even in the most desperate cases, rats were hunted and eaten. These weren't culinary choices, they were acts of sheer desperation, driven by the primal need to survive. These weren't culinary choices, they were acts of desperation. The people of Leningrad were pushed to the brink, their bodies weakened by hunger, their spirits tested by the relentless siege. Yet even in this abyss of hunger, the human spirit endured. People shared what little they had, finding solace and strength in community. The bonds of friendship and family became lifelines in the darkest of times. People shared what little they had, finding solace and strength in community. They gathered together, pooling their meager resources to create meals that, while simple, provided a sense of normalcy and hope. They clung to recipes, passed down from generation to generation, adapting them to the meager ingredients at hand. These recipes were a link to the past, a reminder of better times, and a beacon of hope for the future. The resilience and ingenuity of the people of Leningrad during the siege is a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. Necessity, they say, is the mother of invention. And in the Soviet kitchens of World War II, invention took the form of ersatz cooking. Ersatz, meaning substitute, became the name of the game. Meat was scarce, use grated carrots or beets to mimic the texture in cutlets. Short on flour? Grind up dried peas or lentils for a protein-rich alternative. Sugar a distant memory? Turn to beets and carrots for a touch of sweetness? These weren't just substitutions, they were acts of culinary alchemy, transforming the mundane into the edible. And while the results may not have always been gourmet, they were food. And in those dark days, food meant survival. This ersatz cuisine wasn't about flavor, not really. It was about sustenance, about tricking the body into believing it was getting what it needed. And in a strange way, it worked. With traditional food sources disrupted, the Soviet people turned to the land. Victory gardens sprung up everywhere, in backyards, in bomb craters, even on rooftops. Every inch of soil became precious, a chance to supplement meager rations. People grew what they could: potatoes, cabbages, turnips, anything that could withstand the harsh climate and provide sustenance. These gardens weren't just about food, they were about hope. They were a symbol of defiance, a way of taking back control in the face of adversity. Imagine tending to your little plot of land, carefully nurturing seedlings into edible plants. Each sprout a small victory, a testament to life persisting even in the darkest of times. The harvest from these gardens wasn't abundant, but it was something. It meant a pot of soup, a bit of salad, a taste of something fresh in a world dominated by scarcity. With traditional food sources dwindling, people looked to nature's larder. Forests and fields became extensions of the pantry, offering up edible plants, mushrooms and berries. Knowledge passed down through generations, often from grandmother to granddaughter, became vital. Nettles, once considered a weed, were transformed into soups and stews. Wild mushrooms, carefully identified, provided a burst of flavor and nutrition. Berries, gathered in season, offered a touch of sweetness and were preserved for the lean months ahead. This wasn't just about foraging, it was about reconnecting with the land, about understanding the rhythms of nature. It was about survival, yes, but also about resilience, about finding sustenance in unexpected places. Wartime forced people together, and nowhere was this more evident than in the communal kitchens. These kitchens were a lifeline for many, a place where the harsh realities of war could be momentarily set aside. The communal kitchens were not just about food, they were about survival, resilience, and the human spirit. With resources scarce, families, neighbors, even strangers pooled their meager rations and cooked together. The act of sharing food became a symbol of solidarity and mutual support. It was a way to ensure that everyone had something to eat, no matter how little it might be. The communal effort turned scarcity into a shared experience, fostering a sense of unity and collective strength. A single pot of soup could mean the difference between eating and going hungry. The simple act of ladling soup into a bowl was a gesture of care and compassion. Each spoonful represented the combined efforts of many, a tangible reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. The communal kitchens were a beacon of hope, a place where the warmth of the soup mirrored the warmth of the human connections being forged. These communal kitchens weren't just about sharing food, they were about sharing the burden of survival. They were places where people could come together, not just to eat, but to support one another emotionally and mentally. The kitchens became a sanctuary, a place where the weight of the world could be shared and lightened, if only for a moment. They were places where people could gather, offer support, and find solace in the face of adversity. The communal kitchens were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In these kitchens, people found strength in each other, drawing on the collective energy to face the challenges of wartime. The act of cooking and eating together became a ritual of survival, a way to maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. Imagine a bustling kitchen, filled with the aromas of soup simmering on a wood-fired stove, the air thick with the scent of vegetables and broth, mingling with the sounds of laughter and conversation. The kitchen was alive with activity, a hive of communal effort and shared purpose. Each person had a role to play, whether it was chopping vegetables, stirring the pot, or simply offering a kind word. People from all walks of life united by circumstance, sharing stories, recipes, and a meager meal. The exchange of recipes was more than just a culinary activity. It was a way to preserve cultural heritage and pass down traditions. In the act of sharing food, they were also sharing pieces of their identity, creating a tapestry of diverse experiences and backgrounds. The communal kitchens were a melting pot of cultures, each contributing to the collective resilience. These kitchens became microcosms of the Soviet spirit, resilient, resourceful, and bound by a shared sense of purpose. They were a reflection of the broader society where individuals came together to support one another in times of need. The communal kitchens were a testament to the power of community, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and humanity could prevail. They were a symbol of the enduring strength of the human spirit, a beacon of light in a time of darkness. They were a testament to the power of community, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and humanity could prevail. The communal kitchens were more than just places to eat, they were places to connect, to share, and to find strength in one another. They were a living example of the adage that, "We are stronger together." In these kitchens, the bonds of community were forged and strengthened, providing a foundation of support that helped many endure the hardships of war. The legacy of these communal kitchens lives on, a powerful reminder of the resilience and compassion that can arise in the face of adversity.